have some pretty new releases for you that I have already worn at least once, in some cases twice, that I will be giving you my thoughts about. Obviously, this is still sort of a first impression because only 2 wears is not really enough to have completely solidified ideas about things. But I am excited to share these with you because as a whole, of these 4 fragrances, I really like 3, which is exciting. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, first up, I want to talk about a fragrance that was released by my friend Eugene over at the channel You Smells Good. He actually fully funded, created his own perfume brand called Les Abstraits. And this first release is called La Douleur Exquise, and that translates into the exquisite pain. So I did buy this, by the way. I wanted to support my friend. I purchased this, although Eugene kindly sent me a free t-shirt with their logo on it. So let me tell you a little bit about this, and then I will get into what I sense when I smell it. So La Douleur Exquise is basically a rose-dominant fragrance. It was created by Antoine Lie, which, if you know me, you know that's one of my very favorite perfumers. Some of my very top fragrances in my collection were created by Antoine Lie. And this one is just absolutely devastatingly beautiful. When I first sprayed it on, I just immediately was like, wow, it was powerful, but it almost goes from being really, almost really in your face, sort of, not in your face, but just really takes your breath away almost. It has so much power behind it at first. And then, and I mean that, not in terms of it's really strong, although this does project well, but I mean it in terms of it's just feels like it's overtaking you in a way, in a good way. But then it becomes almost melancholic, in my opinion, as it dries down. And overall, kind of what I get in this is, of course, the rose, which is meant to be there through all stages, and I pick it up through all stages. I would say it becomes this very velvety rose. I have it right here, by the way, so I keep smelling my arm like a weirdo. That's always there. I do get sort of this leathery, smoky vibe, which I believe is from Castoreum, I think. I think Castoreum's in here. It also has a little bit of spice, clove spice, but not overwhelming. Sometimes clove can get really overwhelming in fragrances, but in this case it doesn't. I get something that is sort of skin-like or slightly animalic, but not in an unpleasant way at all. I think there's cumin in here, but it doesn't go BO kind of cumin on me. So definitely a lot of spices, saffron, clove, cumin, I think are all in here. But it also has definitely quite a bit of patchouli in my opinion. And I think it's the incense is what I'm getting, that maybe also is adding to that sort of smoky, leathery vibe. Not exactly sure what is causing that, but in the opening, I would say, or in the first, even the first couple hours of wear, I would say that more of that patchouli stands out to me, this sort of earthy patchouli. But as it dries down, it goes a little bit more kind of, like I said, a little bit more melancholic and sad, in my opinion, but not in an unpleasant way. I thoroughly enjoy wearing this throughout the entire wear. But as it dries down, I think some of the woodiness comes out. I think that some of those powerful notes that take your breath away almost at the beginning, they become more subdued, so that this deep dark rose sort of stands out. And just like I said, you feel this I don't know, you feel sort of this both tranquil, but also sadness to it, right? And it's gorgeous. And I think it does a great job telling the story that Eugene wanted to tell of heartbreak and love lost. I would say, if you want me to classify it, I think it's definitely unisex. It does not to me smell like Portrait of a Lady, but very much in the way that rose can definitely be worn by lots of men. And and also of course women or anyone else for that matter. So I definitely think that it feels unisex to me. It feels like something that would work best not in high heat, because it does have some oomph behind it, and it lasts all day. I will tell you that. Like, I didn't even spray this on my clothing. Both the times I wore it, I just sprayed it on my skin and it was there all day. It definitely gets softer and closer to a skin scent by the end of the night, but it lasts. If you're curious about that, it wouldn't matter to me that much, but it does. But yeah, I would say maybe high heat, this could get overwhelming, but at the same time it almost like emotionally gets overwhelming anyway, even when it's cooler, because it does take you on a bit of a journey, and it is, like I said, almost like this melancholic beauty. So well done, Eugene. I think this is amazing, and I'm really happy to have a bottle. I am a big fan. So if you haven't tried this, I do believe he's starting to sell samples, so you could get yourself a sample if you don't want to commit to a full bottle. But I definitely am excited to see more from Les Abstraits, and hopefully see maybe an iris fragrance come out soon. So anyway, that's the first one I wanted to talk about, and I think it's fantastic. Next up, let's talk about one that's been getting a lot of publicity or hype around it from Yves Saint Laurent. This is called Babycat, and it's from their, I don't know what they call it, exclusive line, whatever, their higher end line. I have a lot of fragrances from this line. They do some really great stuff. I have Sleek Suede, Tuxedo, Blouse, Velours. That might be it besides this one. Yeah, I think that's it. And then now Babycat, but this is like the fifth one. And this one has been challenging to buy if you're from the United States. I was able to buy it from Selfridges, but I think they sell out pretty quickly a lot of times because people said they couldn't find it shortly after I bought it. So I don't know if anybody in the US is currently carrying it, but I assume eventually we'll get it more easily. However, this one I'm excited to have for the upcoming fall and winter season, because this is a new vanilla fragrance from them, and it was created by Dominique Ropian. Now, the Velours that I have from this line is also a vanilla, but they're very different. So this one, it's really nice. This one is like a sweet, smoky, resinous sort of vanilla. And in this, I definitely get some spice, but also I get some sort of like a boozy, slightly boozy quality. I would say it's more resinous than it is boozy, but there are light touches of booziness. This is a nice, deep, dark type of vanilla. There is definitely suede in here. There are some woody undertones, but overall this feels like this slightly sweet, slightly smoky, cozy, almost, maybe not balsamic, but like I said, sort of resinous vanilla, and she's thick. This is a thick vanilla. Now, it's not overwhelming, it's not cloying, it's not that sweet. It is sweet, but it's not that sweet. And if I were to like relate it to something, I would say that, although it's not exactly the same by any means, it sort of reminds me of Lune Feline from Atelier des Ors, if I were to have to like pick a fragrance to relate it to. But it definitely smells different to me, and certainly you could own both. I mean, I now own both, but you could own both and be very happy with both of them, because there are enough differences between them that they're distinctly different fragrances. But this one does have this like just really nice cozy vibe, and it lasted all day, at least on my clothing. I think most of the day on my skin, but when I went to wash the sweater, I can't remember what I was wearing. I think it was a sweater that I was washing earlier, and I noticed this was still on there when I went to go wash it like several days later. So definitely has some good longevity, and I think will do really well in the colder weather. So that is Babycat. Not my favorite name, not gonna lie, but that's what it's called. So another great purchase. Actually, both the La Douleur Exquis and Babycat were blind buys for me, which I haven't done in a long time, although I may have some other ones on the way, but I haven't done that in a long time. But I'm quite happy with both of them. They turned out to be excellent additions to my collection. Okay, next up is one that I just bought a travel spray of because I was a little uncertain about it. And in fact, I don't love this one. I don't dislike it, but I don't love it. It is from Kayali, and it's the Lovefest Burning Cherry, 48. There you can see the little travel spray of it. This one is Gabriella Chilario. I don't know how you say her last name. And then also I think it was Philippine Cotiere did this one as well. But I was excited about it because, you know, I love my Tom Ford Lost Cherry, and I thought this might be kind of same vein. And in some ways it sort of is. But I will say there is, I think it's a praline note in here that I don't love with the cherry. I don't hate it, but I don't love it with it. I was concerned about there being raspberry in this. I remember when I did my video talking about like fragrances I was interested in trying. When I looked at this one, I noticed there was a raspberry note in it, and I do not like raspberry notes in fragrances. I don't really pick that up enough for it to bother me at all. There's definitely some ambrette in here, or at least I think it's ambrette. It could be musk, but it smells a little bit more like ambrette to me. And I do like that. I like that there is a little bit of sort of, I don't know, like a woody, fluffy vibe to it that makes it not overwhelming, not dense. It's light and airy in my opinion. But it is more of like this, instead of being like a true cherry scent that like how Lost Cherry smells like, I don't know, it's just like this combination of like juicy cherries with like this tonka almondy thing that just makes my mouth absolutely water. This does not make my mouth water at all. Again, I don't dislike this. I think it's perfectly pleasant. If I smelled it on somebody, I would think that I smelled nice, but it's not doing it for me. So I'm glad I just got the little travel spray. Like I said, I was a little bit hesitant on it anyway, but I was like, let me give it a try. However, I don't think I'm really gonna wear this again. I'll probably just give this to somebody or sell it or something. So that one is the Kayali Lovefest Burning Cherry. I don't think it's a bad option, but still, I have yet to find a cherry fragrance that I like more than Lost Cherry. I also don't know that I can find one that costs more than Lost Cherry, but yeah, it's not this one. That's not it. Okay, the last one I want to talk about, I just have this little sample. It's Tom Ford's Noir Extreme Parfum. And I went to Saks Fifth Avenue last weekend with my mom when we were out shopping for her birthday. And Sabrina, who's an amazing sales associate, Sabrina Lang is her name, but she is always so helpful. And I went in and she made me a nice little sample of this. And she also let me try the Rose Oud that's coming out from Kilian. They didn't have a bottle yet, but she had like a tiny little sample thing that she sprayed on a card at least so I could get an idea of what it smells like. Anyway, she's super helpful. She's an amazing SA. If you ever need an SA from Saks to order something through, I can give you her information, or she is in some of the Facebook groups as well, but highly recommend. She's fantastic. Anyway, so she made me a sample of this and I've worn it twice now. And I must say that this Noir Extreme Parfum is definitely very clearly a flanker of Noir Extreme. However, I like it more. Now, do I like it enough more to justify the price point? Not sure, but let me tell you kind of what I get as the differences or kind of just in general what I get from this. So the Extreme Parfum is, I think, still created by Sonia Constant, who also did the Noir Extreme and the Noir Parfum, and y'all know I love Noir Parfum. By the way, a super amazing and generous subscriber recently sent me a like brand new inbox sealed full bottle of Noir Parfum, and I just want to say again, I've already said it to her several times, but thank you so much. I am completely blown away by her generosity. And grateful because I love that fragrance and you just can't find it really anymore. And so yeah, now I feel like I can use it again without being like super worried that it will run out soon because I didn't have much left. So thank you again. I really appreciate that. Anyway, back to this. This to me, when I smell it, it definitely still has that Colfie note that runs through all three of these Noir fragrances, the Extreme, the Parfum, and now the Extreme Parfum. And it has like definitely the spice that's even more present in the Extreme. However, in this one, although the spice is still there, I think it's cardamom and ginger that's in this, it's, in my opinion, slightly less spicy than the original Noir Extreme. However, I think the tonka is perhaps a little amped up, and there is this sort of nice, not overpowering at all, but just subtle leathery, like ambery, leathery quality to it. It definitely has like that vanilla and woodiness that the original has. But I would say overall, this just seems a little richer and more full-bodied than the original. That one seems, in comparison, it's not thin, but in comparison seems slightly thinner than the Extreme Parfum does. And in fact, I would say if I were to compare all three, this sits dead in the middle between Noir Extreme and Noir Parfum, because in my opinion, Noir Parfum is the superior of all three of these. It is just more well-rounded and balanced, very sexy. I still really love the Noir Extreme. No issues there. Would gladly wear that too, but I actually prefer this more. Like I said, it is more expensive, so I'm not sure I like it enough more than the original for that like price difference. But I definitely think this is a great fragrance, especially if you do like the Noir Parfum and you can't find it eventually. I think this is a better substitute for it than the original Noir Extreme, personally. I do. It's, again, not exactly the same, but it's pretty nice. So I was pleasantly surprised by this. It's another one that lasted quite well. Of course, the other two, the Noir Extreme and Noir Parfum, also last very well, at least on my skin. That doesn't always happen with Tom Ford's, but in this case it does. But I think this is a great option for the winter, especially. I think this would be really cozy and warm and inviting. So if you haven't checked it out, usually Tom Ford's you can find, if you have like a mall near you that sells Tom Ford, you can usually find this line anyway, pretty readily available, because it's not in the, I don't know, the exclusive line, signature line, whatever it's called. It's not in the high-end line, it's in the regular line. And although it's still expensive, it's more readily available. So check that out if you get a chance. So I am happy with that as well. Of course, it's just a sample, and I'm not going to buy it because now I have a backup bottle of Noir Parfum, so I don't need this. But if I were to run out of Noir Parfum eventually, I would buy this as a replacement. So I think it's really good. Anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on these 4 new releases. Let me know if you've tried any of them. Please leave me comments and let me know your thoughts about them. What do you like? What don't you like? Or if you haven't tried them, which ones sound good to you? I really appreciate you all watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. Hit the like button if you like the video. If not, why are you still here? But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.